We finished all the squares. Yay! I did win yarn chicken. Hooray. You can buy a whole pack of these off Temu for like $2. So yeah, $2. So it's only $2. See what I have to deal with? I have fed everybody. I don't know what they want. Hello and welcome. My name's Beck and you're watching Beck's Crafty Nook. Guess what? We finished all the squares. Yay! But it means that we have to weave in the ends. So I'm going to show you how to weave in the ends. You just get your crochet hook and you go abracadabra, ding, and then it's all done. Just joking. I'm actually going to show you how to weave in the ends because it's very important. I'm going to show you an example of why it's very important and what happened to me when I didn't know how to weave the ends in properly. I did make an attempt, I will say. Alright, so this was my very first Wrapped Round Granny Square blanket. This was the prototype, so it's actually made a little bit different. But we have some examples here. So here, originally these pieces were woven, and so an attempt was made to weave in an end here, or maybe even not. I think I just tied knots here. Let's have a look. I don't know what I did. Oh, it looks woven in. Oh, here we go. I don't know. It didn't go well. And then the other very important place is your magic ring, because if you don't tie them, weave them in properly, they will come undone, and then you'll get a big hole, and then your blanket will unravel from the middle. So there's another end here. So I'm going to show you how I weave in my ends. I'm pretty sure I learnt this from Passion Kelsey at some point in one of her tutorials. And she weaves in a lot more than me, but I weave in enough that I just chuck it in the washer and the dryer, and I've never had anything unravel after I started using this technique. So I'll show you that, and then we're going to get this blanket together. So first of all, you need a few little tools that are going to help you make this not painful. First of all, you need your darning needle. You can get them, this is a straight one, but you can also get them with the little hooked ends, which I originally started with that. It's easier to get into the stitches. You can buy a whole pack of these off Temu for like $2. So yeah, $2. So it's only $2. So I bought 3 packets because also they go missing a lot. So stock up. They're cheap though. And then I have this little lap table. I love using this for weaving in ends because we can put our square up here, be nice and comfy. I have a little spot where you can put your phone, or you can put your iPad there if it doesn't have a case. And even though mine has a really thin case, it doesn't really fit there. A mini would fit there. Anyway, you can watch your podcast or your crochet videos or anything you like. And then it's got these little junk drawers. And I just chuck all my ends in here. And then at the end, when you finish all your blocks, you can go put them in the bin or whatever it is you do with them. Lots of people are putting them in little display jars. I haven't got there yet. So that's all our tools that we're going to need. All right, so I like to start from the inside out. So move everything out the way and tighten up your magic ring. Thread your needle. And then all we have to do for every single thread is weave it in 3 different directions. And it's always good to end your thread in one of these thicker parts here. It seems to stay in there better rather than ending it under this, because you'll see the tail. So we're just going to go, you can see how much firmer that is. 1 this way, then we'll go this way, then we'll go up, might even go down. We might do 4. And another good thing is to split the yarn. See how we're going in between the yarn instead of just directly under? And this really helps to bury the thread in there too. That's 2. And then maybe we'll go this way. And then stay within the same color. So weave your white into the white, your coral into the coral, the peach into the peach. This one I tend to go sort of up and down through here, split the yarn a lot. And then that's it. Okay, and then you just cut your thread close. Try not to cut anything else. I have like nearly cut neighboring stitches. Okay, and then that just goes down the side of my table. And then just start working your way out. And yeah, it's just 1, 2, 3. So this one I like to go down because I like to head towards this thicker part. 1, 2, split the yarn, 3, and you can hide in here as long as you as long as you're not showing on this side. So just check that, and boom, that one is done. So it will take a couple of hours to do the whole stack, but I'm going to put on, I'm watching another Y-Files basement podcast, and so I'm going to pop that on my phone and then weave away, and then when we get back we're going to start joining them and I'll show you how. Okay, so my ends are all woven in. The right way is this way with the bobble, and so you can see the braid there. And then what we're going to do is join them into rows of 3. So we need to get 2 and join them down here and down here so that we will have 3. And then we're going to join them all like that, and then those rows into 4. So I'll go join them into rows of 3 and I'll lay them out, and you can take a look at that, and then we'll do another join. We're going to be using my favorite flat join, which I'll show you how to do. And that will actually also, we're going to do it in this color, and the flat join leaves a little bit of color here too. So that's going to get a little bit wider. You'll see. Okay, now I like to use this method on my little table again, and when I didn't have this little lap table, I used to do it up on the kitchen bench. I have a video where I've done it on the kitchen bench because it's just easier to do this join on a flat surface. With these bigger squares I have done it in my lap, but so let's make sure that our squares are both up the correct way. There we go. So we've got the plaits and the bubbles facing up. And you may have also noticed that I didn't weave in these very outer edges. I always leave the outer edges to weave in once there is a square next to them. So we'll do that next. But we weave in the squares because that's going to be easier than weaving it in when it's a complete blanket. Now, each corner has 4. So you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 belong on this side and 2 belong here. So we're going to go into the first of the 2 that belong on this side on each square. We're going to get our color ready, our joining color, and we're going to make a slip knot. Always leave a long tail for weaving in. You want to make sure you got plenty of room. And then we're going to go from the top down in that second. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to pull this loop through to the top. Oop. Get in there. There we go. And then we put our tail away. This is my working yarn. The working yarn kind of needs to go over here. And then we're going to go top down on this one into the same stitch. So we've got the 1, 2, I'll put it in this one, this second one. And so we're going to go top down and pull through the yarn from the bottom up. And see, we've got our working yarn here, and I'm going to pull that through like a single crochet. And then this is from our slip knot. We could tighten that if we want. Now pull the loop and make it big and take it off your hook, and then into the next hole we're going to grab this loop and pull it through the bottom to the top and then tighten. And in the next loop over here, well, you need to put this over here, we're going to go from the top to the bottom, pull the thread through and do like a single crochet. That's it. Pull it tight, take the loop off. Next hole, pull it through the bottom to the top, tighten. Go from the top down, grab that yarn, pull through, and again like a single crochet. Pull it tight. Then we're going to go top down, pull your loop to the top and tighten, top down, grab the thread and do like a single crochet. So once you get started, it gets a lot easier. And we're just gonna keep going. I think it's just that initial setup can be a little bit tricky. And I will grab the original that I found. I found this method on Pinterest, and the original video was really clear and helpful. You can see like how quick this is. Once you get going, once you're used to it, and we get this beautiful flat join. And I would say just make sure that you pull it tight so it's all just sitting really nicely. But you can see why it's easier on a table. And then we get this lovely extra little bit. See how flat that is? Extra little bit of color. And so I just keep this yarn up ahead here. But I also can just hold it normally for when we're going down. Okay, and you can see we're gonna line up at the end. So we'll just keep going. So we're going to go all the way to these points. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. So here, and then the last one always ends on this right hand side. And see how straight that is. And then we'll cut our yarn, leave a nice long tail. There we go, that's where we are. Pull through, and that is one side done. And then when we come to join them, it's going to be nice and straight, but we leave this to weave in until that is joined. So, ta-da! Beautiful flat join, nice and straight either end, or pretty straight. And I'll join the next one here, and then we'll have our first row of 3 squares. So that is our first row of 3 squares joined. You can see how adding that little bit of extra color is really bringing this color palette together. And so on top you get this nice braiding effect, and on the back it just blends in with the single crochets on either side. So that is why it's my favorite joining method. I'm going to go ahead, these are the only ends we're going to have, and they will get woven in once there's a join on this side and once we crochet all the way around. So I'm going to show you the rest of the 3 rows and then we'll join them this way. But I'm very excited for this color palette. I think it's looking really nice. We're in my bedroom so that we can lay this out properly. And we have 4 strips of 3. It took me pretty much all day yesterday just to weave in the ends and sew them along here. And then I realized I have a bit of a dilemma. The border that I put together with this pattern only shows 3 of the colors from the square, but there's actually 4 colors in the square. And that wouldn't be a problem, and I don't think it will be a problem, but I want to show these 2 colors, the coral and the peach, to bring it all together. And so we're going to do, and I've done this in this one too, so I just posted the mini pattern to the Patreon for this one, just the colorway. And so actually I did use the bubble stitch one there, but see, I think I want to use this bright coral in the bubbles, and then I want to put the peach here so it all ties together. And so we're going to leave out the duck egg blue. So I think it's just because the colors are so different. And we'll still do the green in the braided effect here. We'll still do that green. So we're going to leave out this color and use the marble blue on the outside. So hopefully that's going to look okay. So let's lay it out so we see what it's going to look like and do our final seams. Okay, here we are all laid out, and then we're going to do these seams just in one seam, and then after we do each seam we will weave in these ends. We will leave these until we do that outer border. I nearly forgot to mention that the best way to do this is to sew these 2 together and these 2 together, and then you have a unit of 6 and 6, and then you sew them together in the middle, and that stops everything from being like you've got this huge blanket on one side and then you're trying to stitch down here. I'm also going to stitch it together on the bed because that's just going to make it easier to have it flat and make it manageable. So here I am trying to get set up to sew this thing together, and of course the dogs want to sit with me, and then it just has to turn into chaos, doesn't it? They want to sit on my project, and so I got them settled, but then Latte was scratching her ear, so I had to stop her from scratching her ear a couple of times. And then for some reason she got really excited and wanted to have some food. So I was trying to get her settled, and then they all get excited. So we I gave her a cuddle, and we walked to the kitchen, and then we walked back. And I gave them a little snack while we were there, but then they came back, and I wanted them to settle down, but they're still acting a little bit silly. Dave was all fine. But yes, everyone else wants to sit on my project and howl at me and all the things. So I'll be back once I get a little bit of work done. like everybody is here, including the cat, sitting on my project. Except for Dave. Davey's being a good boy. Who's your good boy? Yes. See what I have to deal with? I have fed everybody. I don't know what they want. So I ended up back on the couch because that's the only place that the dogs wanted to settle. Left the cat in the bedroom. And so I put it over my lap and I'm just folding the bottom of it as I go. And so the most important thing with this process is making sure that your corners meet up. So if you have to fudge anything a little bit just to cinch them together, then do so. But I find that these squares line up pretty well, especially with those 4 stitches on the corner. Help everything stay nice and squared. Okay, now I have the 2 halves. What I've done is rolled them at the bottom and we're going to join those in the middle. And it took me a little while to get it started because I had a heap of ends down there on both sides, but once I get going it's okay. And it's a little bit annoying because I have to try and keep it away from Latte's face because she's sleeping there. But yeah, so anyway, it was a little hard to keep it balanced on my lap. And then I start rolling it at the bottom as well towards me. And so I'm just going to continue all the way down, making sure that those middle seams are matching, which they do. It was pretty easy, and it only takes about 10 minutes to do this entire seam. Once you've got all your squares made, it's definitely a lot quicker, all this joining. Ta-da! We're all sewn together. See, the cat's still in here. And now I'm just going to weave in these ends. And if there happens to be like any holes, use these threads to close them up. Be like here, it's a little bit holy. And then we're going to do a single crochet around the outside, which will make this the same thickness as that. So you can finish up here, do the single crochet border, do some shells or something like that. But we will go ahead and move on to the next borders after the single crochet border. Feels nice. So at this stage, it's big enough to go from my lap to over my feet. So that's why you can finish it off now if you like. But let's get these woven in, do our single crochet around. What's that?
And it feels so nice.
Feel nice?
Yeah.
What do you think about the colours?
I think that the colours are brilliant and it matches a good theme.
Okay. I'm going to do some extra borders. But it's big enough if you want to use it at this size.
Yeah.
Big enough for the lap. And here is how our blanket looks with the single crochet border around. It felt like it took forever. I did start just in the middle somewhere, and I did 2 single crochet, chain 2 single crochet in the corners. And so yeah, you can add whatever border you want after that, but we are going with the official border, and I'll be back once that is all finished. And I'm going to weave in these ends when I've done a few more rows. There's a kitty. Alright, so in my blanket pattern, I normally skip one of the colours in the border. So I normally skip this one because usually all of these colours fit in a bit more closely together. Like these would be some kind of greens or blues. But because they're so different, I feel like I need to put this colour in there, which I really should have put it there. But I think what I'm going to do is here, which will be an extra row, I'm going to do single crochet in this colour, and then we'll head on to the waffle stitch in this colour, and you know, this one and this one. So these two will be swapped around, but I quite like it. Otherwise I think it just wouldn't look quite right. So let's go ahead and get those rows on. Okay, so I completely changed my mind on the border, and we ended up with the next row being half double crochet with 3 in the corner, and finished on the dark blue with single crochet and 3 in the corner. And that is our border. So we ended up with just these 2 colors. That's my blanket all finished, and I finished the last row with this much left. So I would have liked to do maybe another round, but I didn't want to buy another ball of yarn. So that's where we're at. I did win Yarn Chicken. Hooray. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you see. And check out these other videos.